All right, class, so these are some notes on what's called the Pythagorean theorem. My A through K students, you need to have these notes front and back completed by August 24th. That's Monday, August 24th. And then my L through Z students need this done by Thursday, August 20th. So that's this Thursday. A through K, you don't really need it done until the next Monday. That's when we'll start practicing this. But L through Z, you need it by this Thursday, okay? So let's get this knocked out. All right, the first thing is, the Pythagorean theorem is a relation in geometry that works for what's a certain type of triangle, and it works for right triangles only. So to use this theorem, which most of you have probably at least seen before, it only works with right triangles. If you look down here, right triangles are the ones where two of my legs make a perfect L, whether it be upside down, sideways, whatever. But this angle right here is 90 degrees. That's what makes it a right triangle. The hypotenuse is always the longest side or leg in the triangle, okay? I'm gonna put a little note underneath this, and I want you to write this because again, you're gonna be able to use this on quizzes and tests, and so anytime I add something to it, you wanna write that also. So the hypotenuse is the longest side leg. We also wanna know it is always across from the right or 90 degree angle, okay? So here's my 90 degree angle on this one. The one across from it is my hypotenuse. You may or may not be able to look at that and realize that that's the longest one, but it's always across from the right triangle. So here's my right angle on this one. My hypotenuse is the side across from it, so that's my hypotenuse. And that's important to us because if you look at the formula, it's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Well, my a and my b are always my legs. Doesn't matter which one, they're my legs. My hypotenuse has to be the c squared, or it has to be the one all by itself on that side of the equal sign, okay? So let's see if we can use this a couple of times. Use the Pythagorean theorem to find the length of each hypotenuse. So we're looking for the length. We want to know how long that one is. Well, the way this is set up, it's really easy to figure out how long that one is and how long that one is, because all we have to do is count the blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't know if it's centimeters, whatever, but it's 4. And this one is 3. 1, 2, 3. So now we're trying to figure out what C is, or the hypotenuse, okay? Doesn't matter which one you pick out of these to be A or B. I'll take the bottom one as my A, but it doesn't matter. Remember, we've always said, when we're gonna put a number in for a letter, we're going to use parentheses. So that's gonna be 3 squared plus, I need to square my B, which in this case is gonna be 4. And that's gonna equal C squared, okay? So now we're gonna use our calculator. When we're in class, I'm gonna show you a shortcut for this, but for now, we're gonna do it the long way. So I've got 3 squared plus 4 squared. Okay, I'm not going to put the c squared in yet. So that's how my left-hand side of my equation looks, and that equals 25. And guys, don't worry about if you think I just moved too fast, because again, just get this copied for now, and we're going to go over it. All right, so we're not finished. I'm trying to find out what c is, but I don't have c by itself. I have c squared. So c squared equals 25. Well, to get rid of that squared, we're going to take the square root. And again, that confuses you. We're going to do lots of practice together. Just make sure you get this down for right now to have something to refer back to. Well, if I take the square root of 25, and I'm going to show you where all these buttons are on your day, your face-to-face day. But the square root of 25 is 5. So my C equals 5. Now look, I know y'all aren't into going back and checking your work and making sure you got the right answer, but on these Pythagorean theorem problems, at least do this, what I'm about to show you. We just decided that C was 5. Well, remember we also said that C, or the hypotenuse, has to be the longest side. Is this number that we just came up with longer or bigger than 3 and 4? And the answer is yes. That doesn't guarantee you that you're right, but you're possibly right. If we would have gotten, say, 2 right here, I knew I can't be right because it's smaller than 3 and 4, and it's got to be bigger. It's that simple, okay? Again, having it bigger doesn't guarantee that you're right, but it's possible, okay? All right, so that's number 1. All right, so let's go on, and we're going to do number 2. So again, here's my right angle. So I know that's my C. That's what I'm looking for in this situation because it tells me find the length of each hypotenuse. We won't always look for C, but for now we are. So we need to figure out how long my A and my B is. It doesn't matter which is which. We just know that this is either A or B and that one's either A or B. So let's see how long this one is. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. And this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that one's 9. Okay? So again, I use my formula. I'll make sure we can still see over here. I'm gonna slide it over some. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so I'm gonna use this top one as A. Again, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna do 4 squared plus 9 squared, that's my B, and equals C squared. Remember, the hypotenuse is always by itself, or it doesn't matter what side it's on, it's always by itself though. All right, so again, I'm going to use my calculator, and I'm going to do, again, I'm gonna show you how to punch all this into your calculator, and actually show you a shortcut in class. So that's 4 squared plus, I think it was 9, and that equals 97. So that's 97 equals C squared. So again, a lot of times students think we're finished now, but we're not. The C is not by itself. It still has that square. And again, the opposite or the inverse of squaring something is taking the square root. So now, let's see what the square root of 97 gives me. And it stays the square root of 97. So we're just going to leave it like that. In class, I'm going to show you a little trick that we could actually turn that into a decimal. But again, we'll do all our figuring out how to do things on the calculator in class. All right? So let's do a couple of more of these. Let me make sure. We'll probably do this sheet in 2 different videos, just so you know, because it takes a while to upload some of the longer videos. All right. So in this one, I'm given A and B. It tells me to find the length of the third side. So it's giving me 2 sides, but if you'll notice, it's not always A and B, right? Sometimes it's A, sometimes it's C. So just be aware that you have to know what you're being given. And again, we're always going to go back to this formula right here. Well, on this one, it gives me A and it gives me B. So this one's going to set up the same as these 2 right here. That's going to give me 16 squared plus 12 squared equals, I'm looking for C. So in my calculator, I'll do this off to the side to save some time. Again, I'm going to show you how to do it in your calculator and a little shortcut. That gives me 400 equals C squared. Not finished. I need to take the square root of C. So the square root of 400 is 20. That's my final answer. Let's make sure that 20 is bigger than my other 2 sides. And it is. 20 is bigger than 16 and 12. All right, so now let's look at number 4. Number 4 is trying to trick you, throw you a little curveball. Let's not get confused though. All right, so it gives me my A. 3 squared plus, well, I need my B squared. It doesn't give me a B squared. It gives me C. So that means I'm looking for b, but remember my formula tells me I need b squared. And then my c is 4 squared. So I still have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The previous one's c is what I was looking for, but on this one I'm looking for b, okay? So that's what I'm trying to get by itself. So to do that, I'm going to do 3 squared. All right, well, 3 squared in your calculator is 9 equals 4 squared equals 16, okay? B squared isn't by itself, so I need to subtract 9 from both sides. That gives me b squared equals 16 minus 9 is 7. Not finished yet. I need to do the square root of both sides, and b squared equals, and it's just going to stay square root of 7. Again, I'll show you how to turn that into a decimal in our practice session, okay? So that one was a little different. So make sure you know what you're looking for, okay? On number 5, make sure we're all lined up here. On number 5, well, we're given a and b again, right? So I forgot to put these in parentheses. Remember, when you plug them into your calculator, you use parentheses. All right. So my a is square root, that should be the square root of 204, and my b is 14. So I'm not going to freak out that there's a square root right there. I'm still going to use this formula. My a is the square root of 204. I'll put that in parentheses, and I'm going to square it. Plus my b is 14 squared equals c squared. So let's see what the square root of 204, I'm going to show you this on the calculator. Let's see what happens here. Let's see, I need parentheses, I need the square root of 204. There's a little trick you have to do to make sure that this comes out right, but again, I'm going to show you in practice. Well, that ends up being 204. If you think about it, it makes sense, because the squaring something and the square root of something cancels each other out. So that gives me 204 plus 14 squared is 196 c squared. So I need 204 plus 96 equals 300. Seems like a big number, but again, we're not finished because c is not by itself. I have to take the square root of both sides. So now I'm going to take the square root of 300, and that gives me, your answer is going to come out to be 10 square root of 3, and for now, just leave it at that. I'm going to show you how to turn it into a decimal. We're going to turn things into a decimal so much that it's going to become really easy for you. It'll almost be like second nature. All right, so the last one on this video, and then we'll do another video for the backside. All right, so on this one, gives me my A, and it gives me my C. That needs to ring a little bell there because it's not giving me my B, or it's not giving me A and B, it's giving me A and C. So again, remember your formula. My A is 6 squared. I don't know what my B is, that's what I'm looking for. And my C is 10, but here's a mistake that a lot of kids make. Don't forget, we have to square that. Okay, so 6 squared gives me 36. 10 squared gives me 100. I'm trying to get that by itself, so I'm going to move this over here. It's a positive 36 on this side, so I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides. These two cancel. That leaves me b squared equals, don't want to tell y'all wrong, 64. Yep, 64. Remember, I'm not finished. I need to take the square root of both sides. And the square root of 64 is 8. So b equals 8. Let's check this one. My answer doesn't have a square root in it, so this one's going to be easy to check. So my A is 6. My B is 8. Is C bigger than A and B? Yes, it is. So I'm probably right. And in this case, we are right. All right, so I'm going to stop the video now. We will go back. I'll do another video for the back side of this.